Take One podcast.
Now is the time to take action. Now's the time to do more and be more.
Friday cocktails with Gus. What is it today? What is it?
It's the same as always, dude. Just vodka soda.
Vodka soda. Well, sometimes there's some White Claws. Sometimes there's some other things.
I can't fucking drink White Claws anymore, dude. I'm too old. They just give me like heartburn and sour belly.
so I'm sorry about making you second string today, man. But I'm glad you're still smiling and having a drink.
Yeah, what can you do? It's been a week, dude. I'm ready to really relax for a few minutes before we take off for more. I gotta go out of town Sunday for a week, so early start to Friday afternoon, I guess.
Yeah, we're recording, so don't tell me anything secret, but you're going out of town. Anything you can share with where we're going?
It's going to that place with the thing.
Going to that place with those people. That's good.
Yeah, gotta talk to that guy.
That's good. That's good. So if you guys don't know, you don't recognize this guy. My first 3-time person on the show, I believe, other than Danny, is Gus. So you're not second string for that. You're like your first string. You've just been here so many times. I could just count.
I think this is 4, dude.
Is it 4?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, you might be the new record holder.
Suck it, Danny. You're just married to Tony.
Yeah. Well, you and I were almost tied the knot, and then they closed the border on us.
Jerks.
So you guys know this guy, Gus, Jason, right? He is a regular on the show, obviously, as we noted, and a regular for Friday cocktails. I am actually still kind of off the wagon, so I'm having a coffee today. He's a master Westside barbell coach and head of the Westside Conjugate Tactic Club, ex-Marine cop, and owner of Applied Strength and Conditioning. Where formerly used to be a gym, now it's just a hangout where there's some weight equipment on sale or something, right? A showroom for weight equipment, as he says in our last episode together, and also works for Arsenal Strength, and we can talk all about that stuff today. So I don't know, man, what do you want to chat about? You said maybe we could chat about some business because there's some dumb kids out there or something to that lines.
Yeah, I got no idea, buddy. You just asked if I wanted to come on, so figure out something to talk about. We always do.
So here we go. So business lessons with Gus. This could go anywhere. Give me some.
I don't even know what the hell we're going to talk about. I don't have many lessons by any means. It's just other than just work. I don't know. Like we were talking, pretty sure as you and I were talking, just kind of like a sidebar one day of like what the hell has happened to work ethic or like a perceived work ethic of dudes. And gals, like whatever, but folks just not like sitting back and thinking you're doing stuff. It's like you're not doing really anything. You're on the treadmill or the hamster wheel. You're getting really, really tired, but nothing is coming to fruition from all of this hard work. And
yeah, so we're talking
I'm
about
lost,
trade.
man. I know. I don't know. It's just like old timer now at 38, but what the hell's happened?
At 38. Yeah, man, I agree. Work ethic in general, like we're hiring. So we had one great applicant and then one not so great applicant. 4 times. So we have an interview, like an actual, like, hey, come in 10 minutes, just make sure you're not like a complete douchebag type interview. Mm-hmm. Then we like start like an interview. It's like 40 hours come in and out. So the interview, dude's late. Just 2 minutes, but it counts. 2 minutes in my mind is 2 minutes, right? Then 3 out of the first 4 shadow shifts that he has, late. No call, not even any acknowledgement that he's late coming in the door. Like, hey, like I finished school or I finished my other job right this time. I'm working for free. I wouldn't have cared if he had a real reason, but like just complete zero acknowledgement of it. Just goes about the.
Who knows? But I heard you say he was late 3 out of 4 shadow shifts, and then it just froze.
Yeah, 3 out of 4 shifts but like the worst part, zero acknowledgement of being late. Like not like, hey, I'm so sorry. I finished my job that I get paid for. Coming in for free, right? For this interview. Like not like, hey, I finished school and I can't get here. Like I can get here. This is the earliest I could be here. Nothing. Just as if like nothing happened. Just walk in and come in as our groups are already started. We're already training people. Like nothing happened. Not even after. And we're like, all right, man, see you later. See you later. See you later.
Dude, it's that, I don't know what the hell, like punctuality is gone, dude. Like that we were Tommy, Irish Tom and I were talking the other day, and the foundation, it seems like a decent foundation, no matter what age or wherever you're at in this whole thing, is like starts with punctuality. Just be on time and say please and thank you. Like that's totally doable. Or like you said, have a reason you're late. Communicate something that you understand consequences with being late, or like praise with being early. Something to just like let you know that concept's in your head, man. I don't know how you do it. I could not fathom having like employees and stuff. I would just be constantly pissed off.
Yeah, I mean, my team is great. My team would be all over these people if they did this, but man, like it's mind blowing. And like zero, I just the no acknowledgement of it is what's making me crazy too. Just like it's so normal to just, and it's okay. It's okay to just come in late. It's so disrespectful. So
Yeah,
disrespectful.
it's not.
Anyways, now you're talking about people on the treadmill, right?
Yeah. Hey, dude, we pulled at a thread there. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's
But-
fresh. It's fresh.
Well, it's like a lot of people are doing stuff. And again, I don't know what it is we've built, but whatever. But people are doing a lot of effort, but I don't know if the red wires have been disconnected because of the COVID stuff or what. But it seems like the idea of your work or your effort yielding something is gone. It's just do stuff. Like I understand like the idea of creating content and creating content and creating content and that buzzword, but at the end of the day, it seems like you have to create something of substance, not just dance videos, not just, you know, silly stuff or surveys online and things like that. You have to do things. And I mean, just kill yourself like a madman, but like you should be doing something that lends yourself to something. Otherwise, like farmers plow fields and plant shit and then they harvest it. They don't just go around planting shit and doing that stuff and then never harvest anything. I just don't understand anymore what the desired end goal is for a lot of folks, at least in this industry, that kind of guides their behavior and decisions. You know, they just, I don't know if I just live in a bubble, but well, I know for a fact I live in a bubble. I take that back. But the bubble I live in, I don't know if it's just the idea of doing something or what, but I just don't see how you can treat people so poorly on a grand scale and expect it to turn into this or a brand and all this stuff that's out there. Like just like you said, this fella, there's traffic, trains, all that kind of stuff. There could be any number of reasons, but it's not even on your radar that this is a thing, dude. Like that's the standard though of this just consequence-free behavior. And I'm not saying you gotta like punch him in the mouth, but like saying that you're working with no expectation of anything coming out of it other than content and views and all that stuff. Like I just don't know how it all works.
Yeah, man. First of all, there's a storm rolling in. I think that's what's going on with the internet. So hopefully we don't lose. So if we after all of this, the second string quarterback coming in to save my day. Hopefully we don't lose this. But if that's what happens, that's what happens. We'll do it fresh another day. The other thing I'm not getting, man, is like and you and I make content. We got to make content. We make, you know, we're always taking pictures of ourselves in the gym. And I am, you know me, I am not afraid of taking a picture of myself and posting it.
I'm learning how to do it. I'm learning to play the game. Yeah,
right. You've grown a pretty good following and a pretty good business. It's just I don't understand the gym mirror selfie, you know, standing in front of the weights. And then like the picture of like the weights. Like I just don't get it. And like if there's nothing coming like with it, like the gym mirror selfie with like a thing on like, hey, getting better today or something. I don't know, like at least something's got to come with it. But just the gym mirror selfie from like it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, hey, go, congratulations, all right, like go, what are you doing with that?
Yeah, like almost take your desired end state, which you know is here or whatever, and then reverse engineer it until where you're at today and start figuring out what it is you're trying to accomplish versus just, like I said, running on the treadmill, man. Like I just don't know. A handful of the guys and I talk about this stuff of not knowing why. A lot of folks don't know why they're doing what they're doing. I mean, everyone's got shit to learn. I'm not saying we've got it all figured out, but why you're doing what you're doing, and just take 5 minutes and like refine your behavior or your efforts to work towards a goal versus just firing it off. Because you've got dudes fired off from being strength coaches to quasi-physical therapists to process creators to business advisors to spiritual advisors to life coaches to mobility experts. Like there's always a new pool to jump into, it seems like. And when you do that, like I don't know, I don't want to sound like a prick, but when you're just constantly being the newest expert in the newest thing, I really don't think you have a chance to get your feet underneath you and become really, really good at one or two things. And then that's your no purpose gym selfie. Like if you just want to show off and get some likes, cool. I like looking at certain types of images on the internet. They're really, really good. I like to do a little thumbs up, tappy tap on them. But if you're trying to build something, like there's strategy behind most of what you're doing. I'm not trying to just manipulate everyone and things like that, but you're doing this stuff. You're creating videos. You're making little snippets and stories and all this stuff. But for what, other than just the sake of doing it? So if everyone's doing that all the time, and that becomes the status quo, and all that's happening over here, there's a lot of really good, just what I call keep your mouth shut opportunities over here, and just go to work. But a day of work or something, effort in exchange for US dollars or Canadian dollars, sorry, effort in exchange for an income has been vilified to the point where it's like, if you're not getting paid solely off of likes, which that's a slugfest to try and, from what I've learned, man, like these guys that want to create the viral video and the content and media stream, all this other shit, like that's cool. If you have the personality for it, I'm personally not tenacious enough. I can call myself out on my weak areas. I don't have the personality to put it all in on the goal of a viral video and stuff like that, and the passive streams of income that the internet brings. I need to tinker, work, and do stuff. I can't play there. I don't know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? So I don't even go into that realm. But there's so many folks just go there because that's what they say you have to do. Well, it's like, dude, you spent 45 minutes a day reading books on strategy or business or mindset, something to refine your personal skill set. I think you're going to get a hell of a lot more than just saying mean shit to people on the internet, precursor to kind of front loading it before you release an ebook. Like here's everything that's wrong with everyone. Here's a $20 alternative. I don't get it. Like I live in a bubble, admittedly, but I just don't know what the hell's happened. I don't know what's going on anymore. I'm flat out lost.
The other one for me is the they said I couldn't, but I did. Like who the fuck said you couldn't? Nobody said you couldn't, man. Like relax, Snoop Dogg. Like you like nobody's against you. Like nobody's telling me I can't. Like, yeah, a lot of people probably said that. I mean, you're in the same circumstance as me. Like, hey, you're leaving a real stable career. You're really taking a risk, but nobody really said like I can't do that. And like especially from the posts that go out there and the stories that go out there, like all the haters. Like, come on, like is there that many haters? Like, there's one guy who trolls you on the Instagram and shoots you a bad message here or there, and some like shitty friend. But like, why are we even like engaging these people? Just cut them out of your life and move on. Like, I'm not doing it for those people.
Well, it's the being a victim of something, namely bullying, in my opinion, is something that everyone can relate to. And right now, whoever's been bullied the worst or victimized the most is the most popular. So everyone's reinforcing this behavior. Like, dude, we're 4 hours from each other, one other, not even night and day different worlds. But I grew up and graduated from a high school in what's a city called Lake Station, Indiana. And I am the butt of a million jokes out here about where I grew up. And we've come out pretty okay by using some work ethic, common sense, and just general manners. And you're foolish if you're foolish. I don't like everybody, and it's foolish to think everyone's going to like me. And then as soon as I'm almost 40, I've made peace with it. Like, I'm still a goofball, but I'm an adult at the end of the day. Like, I've made peace with this stuff, but trying to tell and romanticize this self-fabricated victim stuff, like you said, to all the haters, like, hey, if that scratches that itch for you, awesome. But if it doesn't, you and I, a handful of folks, I mean, we got done in Houston a couple of weeks ago, and there's 20 plus people in that room, all of which are wired probably about 70% of the same. I get singled down. One of them is going to play that card of like, just add for me and Venmo me $50. Like, screw that. Like, there's a bunch of people out there getting, and I've got a Jocko flag behind me, but getting after it and working and doing stuff. And it's like, hopefully there's like a resurgence in not just work ethic, because there's a lot of people that do work hard. I just don't think they know why they're working hard other than just doing the stuff you're supposed to do. So it's like, man, like, I don't get it. Like, if circumstances, there are underlying things that you can't control. There's ignorant people out there full of hate. There's intelligent people out there that don't have the legs underneath them to get anything done. But ultimately, just just put your nose down and do stuff and self check, but admittedly know your level of stress that you can manage before quality of life suffers, or exactly where you are on the scale of tenacity, and you're probably 3 points lower than you really believe you are, and just make peace with it and work as hard as you can in that bubble. And like, dude, I'm not going to send rockets into space. Elon Musk wins, but there's a lot of good that you can do between my broke ass at 25 starting a gym and where we're at now at 38, and I don't own a space company. The memes and all the romantic shit on Instagram about manifesting fucking billions and all this stuff. Like, dude, manifesting positive mental attitude, my hat's off to you if you have one, but you can't manifest stuff, dude. You have to work and build things.
Yeah, I mean, I really think that you can like build stuff in your mind and like, like you'll find a way to get there, but finding your way to get there with your goals and like what you're thinking is like your hands got to get dirty. And I also like, man, a lot of the people, like when you know them personally that are posting this victim stuff, it's like coming from our backgrounds, like, man, like, I mean, you look at the people you saw in Afghanistan, like, though, or like bring them to like some of the like real bad neighborhoods you and I have worked, or like 30 minutes from your house into the south end of Chicago. Like let's show you some people that are starting from the bottom with like, those are people that are starting from the bottom and really have to work it up, right? There's a lot of people who are more victims of society than some of the people I see posting this nonsense, right? Like it's like they're like, you got it pretty good, and I don't think you have it easy, but you got it pretty good. And if you want to compare apples to apples type thing. So man, I think it's good. The manifest word's a killer too. It's killing me. It's making me crazy. Danny was laughing about it today. Once you manifest those muscles, hey, you got some goals in the gym. Just manifest the muscles. You don't need to actually get dirty, lift those dumbbells.
Mm-hmm. It's just, I mean, again, it's the same. I'm sure people in their 30s and 40s, when you and I were teenagers or 20 somethings, we were probably just as much of a pain in the ass as our old asses are griping about today for no real reason other than your wheel guest fell through and I had nothing going on.
Just a couple of old guys.
Yeah, all this shit about quality of life and stuff. And the minute I have an opportunity for downtime, we hop on a podcast to bitch about work.
Yeah, we got a couple, and you know what? The old guys back in our day, like your dad, my dad, they didn't have. Imagine they had podcasts to bitch about. That'd be the bitch on. So like there would be some classic, and that stuff would get canceled. I guarantee. We put my old man, your old man, having a conversation on this podcast 50 years ago.
70s and 80s steel mill denim conversations. Like you're getting red flagged, man, for community guidelines or something.
Oh yeah. Your dad was a steel worker, my dad was an old school cop, right? So imagine.
Yeah. But no, I mean, a lot of it is.
We should set it up.
It's awkward too, especially like doing the.
I said we should set that up.
I'm sorry, I think I interrupted you.
We should set that up with our dads. Just do a 4-way Zoom.
Put two old men across. Yeah, 2 old men on an international conversation with video on iPhones. You set that up. I'm not doing it.
Yeah. What could go wrong?
My dad just found eBay. I'm not setting him up with a Zoom. That's good. I don't have that level of tech support in me.
My dad's just he's gonna brave the COVID USA, and they're heading to Florida this weekend. So it's a big step. I'm happy for them. Like, after 36 years of being on that job, and he's got his condo in Florida, hasn't been there in 2 years almost. That part was bothering me. I feel like you earned it. So happy. Like, I know it's harder for them to kind of get their heads around it, and I know the threat's a little higher maybe for elderly people. So I'm glad they're going, man. I'm glad they're going into your crazy country. But you guys won't let me in, though. They won't let me in.
Yeah, you can't get sick if you're flying, but you only get sick if you're driving.
Right. Yeah.
Dude, I'll tell you though, Florida, I don't go down there for anything, but I've got buddies and friends down there, and I still owe Ahmed a visit from Symmetry. You'll meet him in one of these things when you're allowed back in the country. But he's down in Florida. And from everything I can understand, Florida went from being like the butt of a bunch of jokes and like hillbilly laughter stuff, to like literally spearheading freedom in the entire country, dude. And it is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Is all the old like Florida man jokes have converted to like how the state is rerouting freight so that they can unload cargo ships, so kids have Christmas and all this stuff. It's like, nice job, Florida. It's absolutely insane down here, dude. And I, again, just my perception from my bubble is it's gone batshit, and I'm sign me up. It's just getting funnier and funnier every single day now. Which I mean, funnier and funnier. It's still
Yeah,
terrible,
man.
fucking nightmare of a way to exist. But it's at some point you just gotta say F it and start laughing.
Yeah, yesterday here was Remembrance Day. That's the day we pay tribute to like those we've lost in in war and past. So the Canadians do the poppies and everything, and just kind of hits home. It's like, man, like we're talking like these people, like what would these guys say from the 1900s and stuff who've come and gone, or maybe some of them that are here that are in their 80s and 90s and that saw their friends die, and we're giving up our freedom. That part's kind of hit home a little bit yesterday when I was thinking about it. I'm a big freedom guy, but like yesterday was a little bit more real for me. It was a holiday for you guys too. So forgive my ignorance, right? Like Veterans Day yesterday.
Yesterday was Veterans Day here, yeah.
Yeah, so that's to celebrate guys like you, right?
Somebody, not me.
Yeah. So happy Veterans Day to all you guys here. I know a lot of probably every time you were on this show, we seem to get a lot more military guys listening. Our West Side Conjugate Club, our contact guys listening. So happy Veterans Day to all those guys, and the Remembrance Days to all the Canadians listening out there. But yeah, I think it kind of hits home when you think about freedom and people that gave their lives for that, and now we're just kind of feel like we're giving it back in a lot of ways.
It's definitely something eerie going on, man. But said I got me a new ball cap. I don't have my tinfoil hat on right now, so just trying to keep that whole thing. I got some canned goods and ammo stocked up. We're all right. Or no, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't have any.
No, you don't. I've never seen any there.
No, but I mean, like, back to what we were talking about the idea of building something. Or I don't just mean anyone who knows me. I can't use tools to save my life. I can use like a screwdriver if that. But building something that's of substance, not just entertainment, or even subdivide entertainment, just straight up controversial, just for the sake of controversy. Like just saying mean shit just to get a response, just so the people. And that's the thing is, you'll put something controversial out there, which is obviously a magnet or a beacon for opposing viewpoints and rude people, and then folks don't defend it. The trick is to get your friends or followers or whomever in the comment section to defend you and stir up real controversy and drama, because in the Instagram algorithm, posts that get responses and replies kick this post into, or comments that get responses and replies kick the post into the algorithm. So it's all done strictly to manipulate people, to put something out there just to have someone call you a douche, just to get someone to defend you, just to get more people to talk. It's unfathomable. And if that's part of your business strategy, there are probably thousands of Instagram made millionaires out there that do that and have a quality of life far higher than mine. But that's the strategy. Cool. Like, you've turned it into a business. If you're just doing it for no real reason whatsoever, that you're on the hamster wheel, in my opinion. And I personally would just much rather go to work and get my job done, and then try to get some sort of downtime at the end of the day before it all starts all over again. But I mean, there's plenty of people wired for that quote unquote old school work ethic, but it's just shielded because everyone's at work. They're not tinkering every single minute of the day on social media, or just starting fights for the sake of starting fights. And I think, not gonna say it's a lost art, but it's definitely dying. And it might coincide with what you're saying about people being willing to give up freedom or quality of life and stuff, just because there's so many distractions. I don't think people necessarily realize, like, small things that are being scraped and taken from them. Not just tinfoil hat conspiracy stuff, but just with their businesses as well. Like, could you imagine if you spent 10 minutes a day, Monday through Friday, researching something, and then maybe made a post on Sunday based off of what you've researched that would work towards your end goal, which is probably good money in the bank, very few bills, and a decent quality of life, clean clothes, versus just, your shirt looks like a piece of shit.
Yeah.
There's just so much out there. But again, it's the Wild West, and people should conduct themselves as they see fit. And I mean, again, I'm not doing anything amazing by any means, but at least there's a how and why behind most of what we do versus just being in that bad information. Because at some point, you've got to stop watching the inspirational videos on. Sorry, I had a call come in there. You've got to stop watching the inspirational videos on Instagram with the cool background music and Gary Vee cussing at teenagers and all this stuff, and just start doing work, man. Like, you have to do something at the end of the day.
Yeah, yeah. What motivation is fleeting, man. And I feel like people come and they do these things, or they'll take a course, or like, like even talk about going to like take a seminar with you, right? Like you go, you learn this thing, you leave there all jacked up. And then if you go home and start like laying it out and like, writing the programming, practicing it yourself, how much better do you get rather than if you just like come home and you like put it off for a week, and then the next thing you know, it gets put off another week, and the next thing you know, months and months, and you kind of just forget what you learned, right? I don't know. I think it's kind of the same with business. Like, like, okay, learn something, get pumped up, get excited, seek your motivation wherever it is, but then you got to put the boots on the ground and go take action and take the first step, even if it's the wrong way in the first couple of steps.
It's a two-part equation. There is like the when it comes time. First part is when it comes, everyone's got the best idea. All we have to do is like, Elon Musk is going to Mars, bro. Let's go to Jupiter. Boom, best idea ever. But how the f do you make that happen? You know what I mean? So part of it is like kind of nutting up and putting pen to paper and getting financially invested in something. Like, I don't mean stock market stuff necessarily, but when it comes time to write that first rent check plus security deposit after you just bought a bunch of equipment and you don't even know if someone's going to show up at your gym, like, that's, in my opinion, now you have a hat you can bring, and you go to that man in the arena quote from Teddy Roosevelt or Theodore Roosevelt, right, about the opinion of the critic not meaning quite as much as
Yep.
That's part one of the equation, and that's the pen to paper kind of thing. And the other part, I swear I had it in my brain and I just zoned out because a text message came in. But the other part is, it'll come to me in a minute. Damn it. It was going to be intelligent too. Fuck. God damn it. We were so close to having a full, complete conversation.
But it was a text message.
I thought we've had this one dude at the seminar, a real good buddy of mine named Nick, who comes, and he's got like the spray bottle when you got to get a cat like to pay attention. He'd get me right back online. I need him here today. Yeah, well, it'll come back to me in like 5 minutes.
I thought you looked me in the eyes there and lost track of things. That's
a little bit of it. It was the dimples. No, like pen to paper. Actually, get some skin in the game, and then your opinion is going to carry a hell of a lot more. And boom, now it's back, and I can remember. But the other part of it is, once you've done that, is the excitement is in creating, not maintaining. Because I'll tell you, it was a hell of a lot more fun running a gym at 25 or 26 when I opened this place. And, my wife was bartending, I was bar backing, slug a monster, come here, run classes, clean shit. Like, we were broke as hell and like just stressed out, no idea what the hell we were doing. And there's some fun in the innocence of just being ignorant to all of this stuff. There's no strategy, nothing, like just get this thing rolling and figure out what the hell to do with it. And now it's like you've become so refined over the years that, you've gone from like a sledgehammer to like a scalpel, as far as efficacy of work. If you just only do the same thing, you have to get better at it. There's no other way to work it. But when you start getting distracted by all this low hanging fruit and these trending subjects and all this kind of stuff, that's when I really don't think folks get a chance to get their legs underneath it. And then just having the discipline to continue to embrace the maintaining and refinement of business versus always trying to create new things. Because there was a point in this whole game where if you had an alternative means of income, we weren't a real entrepreneur unless it was in your income should only come from your business. I remember hearing all that buzz stuff. So if you had an alternative means of income, law enforcement, a second business outside of your primary business, you're not a real entrepreneur. If it doesn't make you money while you're sleeping, it's not an asset. All this kind of stuff that sells t-shirts and ebooks and everything. But now if you don't have 75 side hustles, you're not a baller or whatever, dude, I don't know how any of it works. But if you're always jumping to something and not building up, building vertically versus just constantly going horizontal to build more stuff. Cool. You got a clothing brand. Awesome. Awesome. You've got an advisory firm. Awesome. You can have 1,000 businesses as a sole proprietor here in the States and just collect 1099s from everywhere. or start a real business that does one or two things really, really good. And if you have the tenacity or the work capacity to do more, awesome. But you have to get really good at something. I don't much want sales advice or business advice from a 19-year-old kid who has not sold or built enough to really have bruises and scars all over him versus the 60-year-old guy down in Florida, driving around Fort Lauderdale with veneers and a skin looking like beef jerky. I'll listen to that guy first. With no disrespect, because there's some YouTube kid making 8 million a year or something, but
Yeah.
that's not. I know when I'm outclassed and I cannot succeed there. And I think part of that, me and a couple of guys are reading a book right now that one of the folks down at Byron's gym, a fellow named Hugh, recommended about strategy called How to Win. And they introduced this is how exciting my life is. It's a book about Procter and Gamble's sales strategy to rebrand Oil of Olay. Like that's what my life
Who,
is
who's
like.
who wrote
But they
that?
talk about knowing where to play and how to win. I don't know, some guy. It's green and
Yeah.
yellow on the cover.
All right, green and yellow, How to Win. I just wrote it down.
Yeah, I'll send you a picture of it. Yeah, I'll say it's a really good book, but I can't tell you off the top of my head who freaking wrote it. But it's legitimately that simple in theory, just like training. It's simple in theory, difficult in execution. Identify where to play, and then assess and honestly answer to yourself how you're going to win that. You know what I mean? Like when it comes to creating, again, I've got a foot in the pool with social media. I haven't dove in head first because I don't have a social media run business. I have a business with a social media account, and that's fine. Like I have no ill will. I wouldn't have met you without social media from all the guys that we've networked and stuff through. So there's no ill will towards it. It's just not the cornerstone of my business. It's a necessary piece of the machine for sure. But our business runs off of goods and services in exchange for currency, and we try to over deliver and under promise, over deliver. There you go. That's kind of our thing. That idea, I never even thought of it until earlier this year, of figure out where it really is you want to play, and then how the hell are you going to win once you're in there? Because you look, LeBron James, you put him the best basketball player, modern day basketball player. Jordan's still the best. I don't care what anyone says. But you put him in an octagon against the worst UFC fighter, because people forget the worst guy in the UFC is probably tougher than 99.9% of the human beings on the planet. But you put the best basketball player against the worst fighter, that worst fighter is probably going to beat the shit out of him. And then you put the world's greatest fighter against the NBA's worst basketball player, he's probably going to lose too. And that's where that where to play comes in versus just doing anything out there, just constantly doing anything and everything that everyone's doing and hoping it gets a hit and buzz. And that's respectfully to the younger generation, for whatever my opinion's worth, to whomever's listening to this. That's like the biggest problem in my mind right now. If people really want to get after it, and there's a lot of young folks getting after it and doing great things, but the main thing is people want to get fame or a foothold and then get to work, if that makes sense, versus getting your ass to work. And fame is fine. If you know who someone is, cool. If that's part of your, if you need that itch scratched, awesome. Like you win, you're well known. But that fame and success, foothold, whatever it is, get your ass to work. And if it all ends up working out and you do a lot of really hard, really effective work, you just might get that foothold or that platform to build something great from, versus waiting for the world to my favorite is I know my worth, waiting for the world to appreciate your genius while sitting on the couch. If that's your strategy, my hat's off to you, but I'm not a terribly educated man and whatnot. So I'll take some of the old school mindset of getting your butt to work and seeing if it comes out. Like down here for us, when the world shut down, that was an opportunity for us to travel and bring back some experiential things. So everyone goes digital and remote, part of it out of necessity. But for those that switched over to just doing it for convenience sake, cool. You hopped in the status quo. There's a world of opportunity, especially because travel is so cheap for all that time, to bring back experiential events for folks to come to. And I think if you don't try and make yourself something you're not, be terribly rude to people and just, try to be this larger than life thing, just offer something at a decent price point for good people to come to, it just might work out. But the appeal of like, oh, I'll just sit in my living room and, I'll lead a seminar remotely. Cool. If you have to do it or you want to do it. But you don't necessarily have to do it just because they say that's how it's got to be. Oh, bro, it's all digital now. No, there's a lot of good work out there. You just got to be willing to do it. Like, I don't much care being away from my family and my business and stuff like that, but we travel constantly and work all the time and do more and more and more and more. And it just seems to be great until we've hit kind of that terminal capacity. We're at there's no more work to take on, which is nice with the growth of Conjugate Tactical, because we can give it all away to the folks that want to be a part of it. And there's no expectation for them to make anything in their life worse for this. Just cool. We can find something for you here. I just don't know what it is. But having hit capacity with work, now we can truly enjoy giving all the other opportunities to other people. And hopefully they can build something good with it. But until that happens, there's always going to be a little bit of that. Wait, you got to do that. That's for me. That's for me. No, not you, not you. And unfortunately, you and I have experienced it where people get romanticized or duped into cultures, and it's all kind of done under a false pretense that your life is going to get better by following a system, a book, or a methodology, a business plan, all that kind of stuff. But it's really just designed to make the author or the creator that much better off at the expense of the person to subscribe to it. And like, it doesn't have to be that way. It just, all those things have to fall in play at the right time. So I like giving things to charity and doing charitable work, but if I couldn't feed my son, I wouldn't throw $20 in the red bucket at Christmas time for the Goodwill stuff. Got to feed my son first.
Yeah.
So it's, I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly.
that timing thing is huge. But if you're always pulled in 1,000 directions because of the they say information, it's really, really freaking hard. And this is not coming from a mental giant by any means. I'm a fucking mess, but it's really, really hard to get your purpose or your plan or a strategy or a foundation, get anything going if you're constantly ping ponging around like a damn pinball machine off bright shiny objects. And the whole time, like, there's really mean people out there that say terrible shit to you. Like, it's fucking struggle, man.
Yeah, I agree. Like in so many ways, and you and I are like, we should point out, like, as much as we say like get one thing great, you and I are two people that definitely have a few branches that we've like stremmed out, but like we kind of built it the same way, and I think much of our success is, if you want to call them that, in the gym industry, and then as if you've gone into the West Side stuff or the contact stuff, and I've gone into my own little branding of things. It's all coming from that foothold of fucking long ass hours and a ton of hard work. When it
Mhm.
was pounding the streets as cops and building the gym on the side, like you said, with your wife working at the bar, and me with a couple of little kids running around and working midnights and trying to build this gym up. Like, it was all hard work. Like, none of that comes without that terribleness, like, of the not terribleness, because I loved it at the time, but like looking back, I like now today when I'm like, oh my god, how did I ever do this? Like, I feel like those shifts would have killed me at one point. Like, that's what got you to where it is. So it's yes, there's a dream. Yes, that manifestation maybe of like, I want to do this with this business, but there's like the hard work has to connect that chain. It's not
Mhm.
just your brain idea, right? And like you constantly look at that like goal, you're gonna get there.
Mhm.
However, you got to be climbing up that mountain. You can't just lay there and wait for the like genie carpet to hover you up there. And I think that's what's getting misled to people with this, like, don't work, don't work, 10x you're this and 10x that. Like, yeah, I 10x. I made like no money for 10 times the hours for a lot of years. And then now it's, maybe now it's working a little bit better where you've built something up, and, my gym's able to run a little bit and make myself some money when I'm not necessarily there. And that's a beautiful thing. Compound interest is a beautiful thing, something that most wealthy people have. And not that I'm wealthy by any means, but I think that's where I want to get to. And hopefully, that's where some of our businesses can go. I don't want to be slamming, long ass hours forever, but I'm okay to do it for a few more years at least.
Oh yeah. Well, there's like a bunch of quips, and we've talked about some of those pivotal conversations with dudes, and not all the same folks we know, but like some of those pivotal conversations about stuff that really change the way you're thinking. And like one of them for me was, in it just military is half a lifetime ago for me now, but when we were working at altitude up in the mountains in Afghanistan, our first sergeant, our team sergeant, was telling us, like, we were bitching like always, but talking about hiking, miles and miles and miles up there at like 8, 9, 10,000 feet and stuff. And he's like, just stop being a pussy about it. He's like, it's gonna end when it ends, or something's gonna end it for you. He's like, so just keep working. It's like you'll either pass out, like you're gonna get hurt, something's gonna end it before the thing's done, or it's gonna be done. So work till it's done. And that's kind of how it, like, okay, well, that was one of those, didn't realize it at the time. It was just like, shut up. Like, whatever, I don't want to do this. But now it's like all these years later, the gym's 12 and a half years old. We built a couple of businesses off of the gym. We've landed a tremendous career with the Arsenal Strength. Like all this other stuff is going on. And all along the way, like the Johnny Appleseed thing, all along the way are other tremendous experiences and life lessons. And I mean, a lot of times, like you said, you get your ass kicked doing them. Like there's not a day that, but even friends, and also quote unquote friends that don't say mean shit to me in exchange for something that has gone on. And it's not, again, I'm not going to put this on Facebook and be like, oh my God, one, I don't have Facebook, but like, oh my God, blah, blah, this vague bullshit. Like, yeah, like mean shit, rough shit happens constantly. But after enough hours, like it's part of the learning process. And when you come out the other side, it's like, oh, like things have gotten better. Like I've gotten better at this portion of the pie or this, that, this, and this as a result of those stressors introduced. Because it's just like training. Like you introduce stimulus, whether it be a 135-pound bench press or a 700-pound bench press, you introduce stimulus, you adapt to it. Then you introduce new stimulus and you adapt to it. And if you stop introducing new stimulus, you stop adapting. Again, West Side dude, so you've accommodated. There's nothing left to learn, and that's where it all ends. So you don't have to necessarily like go from like, man, I'd like to start a business one day, to writing every cent you own committed to a business you don't yet understand. And that's again, this isn't a scripted conversation, but that's the section, unless I'm misunderstanding what you're saying, of idea, manifestation, outcome. That's the whole section here in the middle, which is just straight up labor. And
Yeah.
labor, that's subjective compared to what my father did at the steel mill and the guys that I trained with, swinging hammers and digging ditches, me typing and answering angry emails and text messages and phone calls. Like that's my particular version of labor and building and cleaning the gym and stuff. But it's effort more so than it is, blood, sweat, and grime and all that stuff. But effort in exchange for quality of life is fuck. That's what's lost right now. And if you can adopt that, in my opinion, if you can adopt that back into your strategy or your mindset or your skill set, um, then you're probably going to be better off than everyone over here slugging it out trying to create the next big thing. Because it's the analogy I always use is, especially being a Vegas guy. I love Las Vegas, but if I'm at the roulette wheel, I'm not going to put all of my money on the 00 green and hope it hits. I'm going to put a little bit of money on black or red and hope that 50-50 chance. The odds are much better of success here in the beginning, where you can afford to make a little bit of mistakes. The odds of success are much greater there than they are out here, and the two are rewarded the same. These guys that do, and maybe it is jealousy, I don't know, but these guys that create the $1 million trillion views video and they get paid a bunch of money from advertising. If you pull it off, dude, same as the crypto thing, you pull it off, you ethically figure out how to do it without lying, cheating, or stealing. My hat's off to you. But knowing where to play and how to win, I cannot compete in those areas. Like just same thing when I get a little bit of confidence and I think I'm kind of tough. I'm like, all right, Eddie, let's do this. And I end up just mauled and beaten by a guy 100 pounds lighter than me. I remind myself, that's a good reminder of where to play and how to win. Like, I should not be doing that.
Yeah.
I should be over here. I should be over here playing checkers with my 5-year-old son, and I can win there. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, but
there's so much that goes into it. But that's the thing. Like, I think folks are missing out is like you're not a loser if you're putting in long hours and work. You're putting in what's required for the time. To do it for no reason is just as foolish as not doing it. But do it as long as you have to, just like our first sergeant said, do it as long as you have to till it's done, and then learn how to dial it back. And that's kind of where I'm at now is, forcefully learning how to dial it back and just tune out and turn off, let some opportunities go, which was maddening prior to not the boom of, but just the controlled growth of Conjugate Tactical. It was hard to let opportunities go because you want to do all this stuff and make sure you're working as hard as you. I don't know a decent father out there that doesn't want to work as hard as he can for his kids. And I've only got one, but before Jake, I did not as hard as now. And like to do it as hard as I can now for him is awesome till we hit that capacity where it's like we don't need anything else anymore. You know, more is always better in a sense, quote unquote, as long as it's done ethically. But now it's the point where there's nothing else really out there within reason or that's actually realistically attainable. There's nothing else out there that we really need or want anymore. And we're fortunate that slow growth, or as my buddy Dave says, slow cook. You put everything in a crock pot. You slow cook it.
Yeah.
We slow cooked conjugate tactical, and now we built it into something that we can really just network and give almost anything that comes across the plate anymore, or comes across the table, excuse me. We can give it all to the coaches. It's not just a blind endorsement by any means, but there are a lot of square holes out there, meaning inquiries that we'll get. There's a lot of square holes out there, and more often than not, because of the caliber of people that have come in, there's a square peg with just simply introducing an email, or hey, you're only 2 miles from one another. Like, had we not gone to Utah with Bobby and everyone, we would have figured out that we live 3.5 hours from one another, and even met. So it's always like there's always something you can be doing to improve the network or protect the network and everything that you're doing. But it all revolves around doing stuff. And if you do it long enough, for me, it's nice to be able to give it all away, like hooking friends and coaches up with, good paying clients, because there's no expectation to work for free. But take it all. There's no cut. There's no portion for headquarters. Nothing like that. It's a platform to network from. It's all for you now. And because we've worked hard enough and smart enough for all these years, again, with the help of tremendous great people, it's not a self-made thing by any means. A lot of people took care of us when they didn't have to. Um, that now we can truly enjoy giving it away. At 25, you land somebody a $150 a month client for programming. At 25, when we're choosing between breakfast and lunch, like which one are we going to have today?
Yeah.
That would not be the right time to give it all away, because you can't reap the good chemicals that come out of the brain for doing something for somebody. You don't get to reap it. But when the pieces fall in play after years and years and years of working, and just not always intelligently working, but learning how to work intelligently, and then you can hook up the next generation or a friend or somebody, they reap the rewards of good quality and character, and you reap the reward of enjoying doing something kind. That's like, to me, that's the desired end state. And now it's just, how do you bring, like our first podcast we did together, we talked about the mountains and stuff. Like, we don't have the tallest, biggest mountain in the valley by any means, but the one that we've wanted to climb or have assigned ourselves to climb, we've done it, and now we can just bring more and more people up to it. Or if they don't want to stay here, they're pretty high up, and now they can go up to this next level or their own thing. Because I mean, dude, we've got guys doing this stuff. I mean, I am not terribly brilliant, and it's a good kind of nut up or shut up experience for me when we do these seminars. You've met Henry McFarland. He's a
Yeah.
PhD candidate. There's a half a dozen master's degrees, CSCS dudes, gals. There's a lot of highly educated, intelligent people that attend these things for one piece of information. And when you can't be, I can't be all things to all people. But when these dudes and gals show up for one piece of the pie, that's a terribly stressful burden to bear, and you have to deliver. That's that, like, enter the forge and come out the other side hopefully okay. But that's the level we're working at now, and it's fun to see others take what they've got and bring it up, because some of these guys that do have that, the higher levels of formal education, they just don't have the age and experience yet. You can't get 15 years of experience if you're only 20 years old. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah,
22. That's just not how it works. But you can lend, and it depends on how you want to conduct yourself. And again, you make a lot of money selling, not you, but a human being can make a lot of money selling t-shirts and ebooks and articles and get the sponsorships and stuff, saying mean shit. Like, the one that I don't get, especially maybe not having the formal education and strength conditioning, but the one I don't get is why, like, gym dudes like myself vilify, yell at, make fun of formally educated folks. They just have the paper, they don't have the experience. And then the formally educated folks poke at the gym guys who don't have the piece of paper, and it's just constant controversy. Or you get 10, 20, or 50 people of substance that are really, really smart at one or two things in a room. That's a pretty freaking dangerous group of people to be around, man, for someone that's not a part of it. And what a cool culture or a cool experience that is to sit there amongst intelligent folks and not try to create a hierarchy. Like I don't want to be that person in the room who's standing on their soapbox thinking they're better than everybody, nor do I want to be around that person. Like that's a toxic human being. But you meet some of these folks that, you know, hell, we're going to host a seminar here in April with some folks that were just at our seminar. So you go to folks that have a notebook in hand, and one day, and the next day they're behind a podium leading a seminar. Like that's a pretty cool group to be around. But it's in not just seminar format, but that's just all I really know. But that same mindset with folks of like, you know, you go from student to teacher really, really fast. And that's the club I want to be in, but it's not like not everyone's welcome, if you know what I mean. Like that's that
Yeah.
middle gap that you were talking about of effort, labor, and accomplishment. You have to do something to brush shoulders with some of these folks because there's some smart people out there where I just sit there like, I'm going to talk to you guys. Like, holy shit. This last one we did in Houston, we had the folks from Kettlebell RX down there, Zach and AJ. And it was one of those, like, I think this is going to be who's coming, but I wasn't sure when the signups came in. And then sure as shit they are. And we have a small block where we talk about kettlebells. And it's like, dude, fuck, I got to talk about kettlebells in front of like two of the best kettlebell lifters in the United States, because like modern kettlebell only goes back 20 years in the United States. And that first generation of coaches has a tribe kind of underneath them, for lack of a better term. And the people that came to our seminar are the next generation of the best in the country. And my dumbass is going to talk about kettlebells publicly. Like, oh shit, here we go. And look, they didn't rip me apart too bad, but it's like, yeah, now I'm going to be with them with a notebook in hand, getting just
Right.
picked apart and ripped apart on technique to try and get better. But that's the, I think, in my opinion, that's the part of the process that is being vilified by this, like, sit back, let someone appreciate your genius and they'll pay you for it. Well, you can do that, but you can also get your butt to work and find hundreds of people wired just like you if you really want to get to work and make something good. I know a lot of millionaires that have a change jar on their dresser and dirty boots in their whatever that mudroom area is called. And they got dirty boots and a change jar. It's not all like that flex culture shit. That's toxic for an up and comer, man. It's toxic for an
Yeah,
accomplished
man.
person too, but whatever.
Yeah, man. I can't agree more. It's like staying grounded. I think sifting through opportunities versus distractions is always a challenge for anybody in business. It's a
That's a
challenge for
much more
myself.
elegant way to say it, man.
Yeah, I'm just like you. We pull quotes and things that we've heard from a lot of smarter people than us, and then apply them to your life. And I think that's like, it's just like strength coaching. I'm here teaching the deadlift, and then I go up to your place, and I always use the example of bench pressing. I am one of the better bench presses at the garage gym, right? One of the stronger guys there. And I go up to your gym, and I end up working out with a couple of the boys there, and I am like, literally, like, my like PR is their like warming up weight. And like, how humbling is that? But at the same time, it's like I could be embarrassed, or I could be like, hey, like, how the hell did you do that? And then I think with the great people too, like the guys I've trained with you, is like, they're right there. Like, they could care less how little I'm lifting compared to them. They're just there to try to like, hey, try this little tweak. And then I come home and you teach it as if it's yours, and yeah, and you give that credit, and but I think a lot of people too try to like put out that everything that they're teaching they kind of came up with, when really it's like it's a blend of so many experiences in business, in the gym. I think business and the gym are so closely knit to each other too in circumstances. But it's like I picked a little bit from Gus, a little bit from Bobby, a little bit from from the boys in Houston. Like, you just take what you can get all over the place and you blend this thing. All of a sudden you've got this wealth of knowledge that came from others and your own experiences and maybe your own education. For you and I, it's not education, it's trial and error and experiences, I think. And brushing shoulders, that's one of my favorite things. If you're not putting yourself around people, like truly around people, you don't build this. Like, we wouldn't be having this talk if we hadn't spent a lot of time together in person. There's only so much you can do
Oh,
through a
for sure.
TV screen, I believe. you know
Yeah, and there's the
so
human component too. Like, even with a lag in audio on what we're doing or the occasional freeze, that'll never ever happen in person. And it just makes it that much better. And that the human connection is being removed. Again, you put your tinfoil hat on, it's being removed to reprogram society. But whether it's that or the human elements being removed for convenience, that very simple fact that the kind of the industry standard is everything is remote. Go make a good chunk of cash ethically by traveling to people and dealing with the traffic delays, the delayed flights, the mask on your flight, the Ubers that are inflated prices. Get out there and provide whatever it is you do to others to make their convenience or their experience better than what's easiest for you. And you'll most likely be rewarded as long as you're a decent person and provide something of substance, you know?
Yeah, man, 100%.
But I mean,
So I
it's pretty
got
cool.
got well, we talked about sponsors, though. I do got to put this out there, right? My HQ, right? You guys in America, I don't think you can get it, but HQ, you guys go there. You guys know I love their products, their supplements, particularly focus, which I take before every single podcast. You go on there, you can use code Tango15. You could also go to 10,000. That's something that you guys in the West Side community could use. 10,000 clothing company. I think they're the best around. They got a great tactical line. They got some great performance gear, and you can also use that same code Tango15 with them. And then anybody local to Windsor, get a hold of my cigar conservatory. They are my new, like, I'm kind of off the booze, but on the once a week cigar thing. So if you guys want to grab a cigar from them, tell them I sent you, and they will set you up. So, yeah, I got to get that in there. So talking about like doing things for other people, man, let's we're getting to that time of year. We should we're getting late. I got to get to my kids, and I know you got a busy day, but let's talk
You're the
about
one that was 15 minutes late getting on the call.
but no, let's talk about what's really important, especially yesterday being Veterans Day. And I know this is super important to you, which makes it super important to me. Pull through. So what's happening this year? Pull through, which is deadlift competition held at Gus's gym in Chesterton, Indiana. It's I fucking love it, man. So like talk about just a little bit of the background and how people can get involved.
Yeah, so we're it's going to be December 18th of this year. So it's been announced so people can have, a good 6-8 weeks to train for it. But ultimately, this will be the fifth one we've done. We had to take a couple years off because of circumstance, but we're back at it now. So we were going to do it last year, and I'm a big fan of being stubborn and whatnot. But we were going to power through last year. But the event, it's just 3 attempts of a deadlift. It's not a life-changing event. So all the folks that are good enough to come to it either couldn't or wouldn't come to it last year. And I don't mean that in like an abrasive way. But if you don't feel comfortable traveling in the winter of last year, things were a lot different then, than they are now. And my own love of being stubborn of, government's not going to tell me what to do. Like all the folks that come out to the event are what makes the event awesome. And I don't want to have it subpar and deprive everyone from coming to this thing, because again, Chesterton, Indiana is not a beacon of excitement. But just to have it for the sake of me being stubborn was not the right call. So we backburnered it again last year after just bringing it back in 2019, because it was just the right thing to do for everyone. But it's definitely back this year. So it's a 3 attempt deadlift, essentially 1/3 of a powerlifting meet. And we just try to set a PR. I mean, you're not going to get red lighted here or anything like that. It's just a good, positive day. It's right around Christmas time, almost always the weekend prior to Christmas, because no one's doing anything at 9 in the morning the weekend before Christmas. So it's a good chance. Anyone who is competitive probably doesn't have a meet right around that time. Most of the guys that I worked with in the gym that are fighting either aren't fighting in the winter time or are no longer fighting, period. So it frees them up to be able to have a good time in it. And ultimately, it's just a fun day. So all we do is the 3 attempts on the deadlift to set a PR. If I'm confident that you can beat me up, which most of the people can, you get a 4th attempt if you really want to go for it. And it's just like a good high energy day. The raffle table humbly is the real reason people come. A lot of folks donate a lot of really good shit. So like Yeti's bars, like you guys went in the deadlift bar. I've still got people sending me angry messages, but Texas Power Bars takes care of us every year. They donate the deadlift bar, then we raffle it off. Really good friend of mine donates, some nice coolers and stuff from Yeti. And Frankie, he always puts some steaks up there that no, you don't get to eat these steaks if you're a normal human being. And he always sends a couple out for us and stuff. So it ends up being a really good day, and we donate all the money legitimately every cent. There's no like hosting fee or any of these little things that people can find a way to justify stealing. Um, it's not for us. So everything we bring in, we donate. Every year we've done Lone Survivor Foundation, we've done Mission 22, done a handful of other charitable efforts, but this year we're doing the Matt Pacino Foundation. So they work with a lot of different veteran causes. I like to personally try and do all of our philanthropic efforts to, the holistic treatment of PTSD and suicide prevention in veterans. But this year we're gonna be able to route some of that effort through the Matt Pacino Foundation, but we're also working the fundraiser this year, the pull through for them to use the funds as they see fit, which should put a cherry on top of what we're currently doing with Texas Power Bars. In that, I don't know if you saw it up there, but that Veterans Day bar we're doing, that camouflage one. So we set all that up. I met, I don't know Matt personally. I didn't get a chance to meet him before he passed, but I know his former team sergeant through some of the stuff that we get to do. And after hearing the story and getting to know Matt's sister who runs the foundation, this is where our effort needs to be. Like I always say, like, I wasn't a soft dude or anything like that, but I got to work with a lot of those guys. And even though it's a little posthumous, but being able to donate back to that community directly, I owe a great deal to. So luckily, everyone's really good to hop behind the cause. And we're getting that barbell out there. So that barbell is in direct support of two efforts they're doing, one in conjunction with the Gary Sinise Foundation. So collectively, we're working with a team to build a smart home for a U.S. soldier who was injured in training, but he's lost the use of his legs lost the use of his body from the waist down, mainly his legs. So we're building a smart home for him that's adapted for his particular needs. And then we're also applying the rest of the funds to a direct effort to purchase a home void of mortgage, so completely free, for the widow of one of the Marines killed in the Kabul attacks in August. So
Man, that's amazing.
yeah, so what we do with the pull through is going to be applied to those two efforts as well, as much as the foundation sees fit, and then reserve some of it for the our general efforts of treating, not treating ourselves, but helping those that know how to do it, treat PTSD, and do what we can to prevent, the veteran suicide thing. So should be a pretty good effort. But yeah, it'll be going live here pretty soon. So we got to get through the barbell fundraiser, then we can switch gears to the pull through fundraiser, and hopefully get you guys down here too, man. Sneak across the border.
Yeah, man, I think we can come. I think they're saying you need a vaccine to cross, but I feel like a lot of the people at the border just are saying like they don't, like they're just like go. So I don't know.
I know a couple of guys in the border patrol.
I was just about to say,
I'll call some dudes and see if I can get you guys snuck across or something.
Yeah,
no one will see it coming from the north down. No one's gonna see that coming. Don't worry about it.
We want to come, and I think one thing you might have omitted there, like obviously tremendous cause. I know it means a great amount to you. You're getting choked up just talking about it, and we do have a timer on how long it'll take for you to cry. Gus and I are very much the same in that regard. But one real cool thing about that, man, is like I went down there. That was my first ever competition lift, if you want to call it that, outside of like some football testing. And but I went down there with a bunch of very green people that had really even started their deadlift training, like ever trained for strength really before 8 weeks before. And 100-pound deadlift from one of our newbies, mother of three, to like the big dogs knocking out the 700 deadlifts for three. Everybody was treated the same. So like from a new person to like the absolute people who do this for a living, it's just awesome to see the support that went around that room. And it man, it's a vibe. It's definitely a thing. And
it's pretty neat.
In some tights, it's always makes it worth it too.
Well, I mean, you had the same year we had Josh Connolly out here from West Side. He pulled 850 a week after doing a full power meet.
Yeah.
So I think in that meet he pulled, I think he was in the 900s. He pulled, and God knows what he squatted a week later. He's pulling 850. And I think everyone was just as jacked to see 850 being pulled as they were the gal. This is the same year you guys came down. The gal who had just finished, I believe, her last round of chemo for breast cancer from a gym a few towns over from us. So I mean, she pulled like 135, 180. Like you said, the weight's completely irrelevant. It's just such a cool day. And then having the brewery next door that we do, it's all, so pro America and pro veteran and stuff like that. Those guys, they've got beers just waiting like at the ready for everyone when it's all done. So it does become quite a cool day. And like we were saying, like a couple of years we had to take it off because of circumstance, and we can't do that day subpar compared to like not the standard we set, but just what the days become. Like people know what that day is. Like people are switching shifts, changing out, overtime, all that kind of stuff to be a part of it. Like we've got to be in a position to knock it out of the park. Otherwise we can't do it. And with everyone that donates what they do for the raffle table, like out of respect to their kindness, man, if we don't hit a home run with the environment, then all that stuff can't be optimized for what its intent. Like you donate a Yeti cooler, I don't think arrogantly, but you donate a Yeti cooler to this, you expect that to do some good for somebody somewhere. You donate a Yeti and you get one raffle ticket because there's only 6 people at the event. Like that's irresponsible on my behalf, and I can't I can't do that. You know what I mean?
That ain't gonna happen. So we'll do our best to get my crew together. We're gonna make some calls. We're looking into it right now. At the very least,
across the border, bro. I'll make some calls.
At the very least, you've got my support coming. But yeah, we need to have some good conversations with some people at Homeland Security. But I think we're good. I've really been looking into a lot this week, so I think we're good as long as we get back within 3 days. Apparently, if I get a test here, I can go there, swim in a pool of COVID, and come back as long as I have my test in 72 hours before. It makes no sense.
Well, so you got to get the hell out here. I leave the next morning. I got to be on the road the next morning after the event at like 10 in the morning. So
once you give me that bullshit, every year, man, I come down there and you say, I'll meet you guys at the bar. Nope.
Yeah. I don't like the bars, man. I like my cocktails at the gym with everybody, or just a little bit relaxing time at home. But you guys get the red carpet rolled out for you when you come down.
Yeah,
you're known as like real Canadians from Canada. Yeah, they're like, oh my god, you guys get treated like celebrities.
We come like we won the Stanley Cup, like we're carrying it with us.
Oh, absolutely. It'll be a fun weekend for sure.
It was a great chat. I really appreciate you coming on here last minute, and as usual, providing like you said, like that's what it really comes down to, provide a ton of value to everybody who listens and to everybody everything that you're doing, man. I really appreciate your friendship and your mentorship in the strength game, and then always bouncing ideas off each other is the best. And this always gives us a good opportunity to talk. So yeah. Thanks, Gus.
Nope, that's one thing, man. We can't get too busy to stay friends, man. I've been down that road. Not good.
Yeah, brother. So I'm gonna hit stop, and we're off the air. So thanks everybody for listening. Go ahead, subscribe. That's your only admission, please. Please subscribe and please share this stuff for us. I appreciate it very much.
Now's the time to do more and be more.